Am I the arsehole for calling the police on someone who parked in my driveway? Last Saturday our neighbors had a yard sale. There was a decent amount of people that stopped by and they were fine parking in my neighbor's driveway. We live on a very busy street, so parking on the road is a nuisance as there is no shoulder and people tend to drive well over the 35 miles per hour speed limit that is posted. To be clear, it is very obvious that this is our driveway on our property. We do not share an easement with the neighbors, so this person purposely pulled into our driveway because the neighbors was full from other people at their yard sale. The way he was parked completely blocked both of our cars in, so if we needed to get out, we couldn't. About an hour into the sale, we noticed a car pull into our driveway. I asked my husband if he was expecting anyone and he said that he wasn't, so he went outside to see what they wanted. He saw the driver, a passenger and 2 children get out of the car and walk over to the neighbor's yard sale. My husband called out to the driver of the car and told him he can't park there and to move his car. He told my husband that he had nowhere to park and the kids were with him and it was too dangerous to park on the street. My husband said he understood, but he needed to move the car out of our driveway. The man proceeded to argue with my husband until he finally told him to either move his car or we will call and have it towed. My husband came inside and asked me to call the non-emergency police line to see if someone could come out and ask the driver to move the car out of our driveway. An officer arrived within 10 minutes and my husband explained the situation to him. The other driver began ranting at the officer about not having a safe place to park, and the officer told him that it didn't matter, that he was on our property and he could either move the car or the officer would call to have him towed. The man started screaming curses at my husband and told him that if one of his kids got injured because he had to park in the road he was going to sue us. My neighbors, the ones having the yard sale, came over and told us that we were assholes for making such a commotion over them being parked in our driveway. My husband explained that they were the ones having the yard sale, not us, and that he would have never allowed strangers to park in their driveway because it's just rude. Now my neighbors are badmouthing us to all of our other neighbors. Some agree that we were in the right, but the ones to the immediate right of us are now being cold to us and telling us that we are insensitive and have no sense of community. So am I the arsehole or should I have let it go and let the man park in my driveway? ETA, people keep asking why we called the police. We called them because the driver was becoming increasingly hostile and swearing. He threatened to sue us. We would most likely have let him stay if he had just asked us first. The second he started cursing at my husband, he had to leave. We do not know him, did not know what he would do or was capable of, nor did we invite him. He was there for a neighbor's yard sale that had nothing to do with our property.
Oh man, I was totally going to berate you because it's so obvious that you're not the arsehole, but I see some other commenters that think you should have let the man park in your drive because you weren't going anywhere, and it's only for 15 minutes. No one is entitled to park in your drive without your permission unless it's an emergency vehicle. I'm mostly baffled by how you got the police there in under 10 minutes. Not the arsehole.
Not the asshole. The man started screaming curses at my husband and told him that if one of his kids got injured because he had to park in the road he was going to sue us. I love this. What does this guy think he would be able to sue you for?
Not the arsehole at all. If you had an emergency and had to move, or even call an ambulance, things could have gotten really bad, just because someone felt like they were entitled to park in your driveway. I don't understand why people think it's okay to use private property as a parking space. You did the right thing, IMO, and your neighbors who thought it would be okay can offer up their own driveway for parking next time someone has a yard garage sale.
Not the asshole. The least your neighbors could have done is clear with you that they were having the sale and ask if are okay with people parking there. If you said no, then too bad, so sad. But they didn't. And if you had an emergency, what were you supposed to do? Not the asshole. No one is entitled to use your property without your permission. Going to a yard sale is not an emergency.
The ones to the immediate right of us are now being cold to us and telling us that we are insensitive and have no sense of community. Park in their driveway.
Not the asshole. You let one guy park there for 15 minutes, then someone sees him pull out and is excited to get such a great spot. You don't have to allow people on your property just because your neighbor's at allowing folks on theirs. Edit. The comments here are wild. Op is selfish, but not the guy who thinks he's got a right to park on Op's property. Op escalated it, not the guy who was asked to move, but stomped his foot and said no. I work for an estate sale company. We hire police detail for sales in densely populated areas to keep our customers off of other people's property.
Not the asshole. I'm sure those neighbors that are saying you were wrong would be pissed if some strangers parked in their driveway.
Not the asshole obviously. Whoever says you are the asshole is delusional.
So trespassing and parking illegally on someone's private property is considered a sense of community nowadays. The sense of entitlement with idiots lately is disturbing. What if they fell on your driveway or their car got damaged? You betcha they would try to sue you. I would have absolutely called the cops too. It is illegal to prevent someone from leaving their driveway, at least here in Las Vegas. Or say you can park there for a fee. Not the asshole. Side note. Why are they even having a yard sale during a pandemic?
Not the asshole. I usually don't like people who go straight to calling police, but this trespasser was hostile from the get-go. Calling the police to evict him from your property was better than the alternatives.
Not the asshole. You must live in a nice neighborhood if this is a cause for gossip.
I hope you guys saying, why couldn't you just let them park there? Keep this same energy when a stranger shows up wanting to use your microwave or take a nap in your bed or use your shower. Not your neighbor, a stranger. This is ridiculous.
It's your property. Private property. If you don't want some stranger using your home as a parking lot, you don't have to explain it or justify it. They need to leave. That's all there is to it. It doesn't matter if you weren't going anywhere that day. Nobody gets to use your property without your express permission. Your neighbors can suck a butt and that dude and his kids can kick rocks. Not the asshole.
Lol. Not the asshole. M8. For all the reasons you expressed yourself. It amazes me how entitled people have become.
Not the asshole. It's your property, your choice.
A guy parked in your driveway, blocking your vehicles. When asked nicely, they wouldn't move and instead escalated the situation to the point where police were called, and they still complained, and then the neighbors piled on. Not the asshole. Like at all.
Oh no, your neighbors are being pissy toddlers with you. Whatever will you do with your life? Seriously, who gives a shit? These same people will be your best friends the second they need something from you. Ignore them and live your life. Not the asshole. NTA. Your neighbors are rude. Not the asshole. You asked them to move. The dude was being a nuisance about it.
Not the asshole. Didn't realize yard sales counted as emergencies that required commandeering private property.
Not the asshole. Ignore the badmouthers. You were within your rights and gave the MSN an opportunity to correct his error. As for your neighbor that had the yard sale, they are a good example of entitlement. Also ours.
NTA for all the people asking what's the big deal letting other people park in OP's private property driveway. It's called emergencies. Anything can happen in someone's life at any time. I'd want to drop what I was doing and leave and not get blocked in by some random person in my own driveway. Also, since it's private property, you don't need to share it if you don't want to, and you don't need to answer to anyone else. That's the beauty about being a sole homeowner. Did the neighbors ever say, hey, we're having a yard sale, or did they just assume OP would be fine with it and with people parking in their driveway? Talk about sense of community. My neighbors would at least give me a heads up if they were having a yard sale. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Not the asshole.
Not the asshole. This man felt entitled to your property. Going to garage sales isn't an emergency and you can either park down the road and walk or wait until someone moves their car. I love how he told you that he would sue you if his kid got injured if he wasn't able to park in your driveway. A judge would seriously laugh at him. He's the one who took them to a garage sale. Your neighbors suck too. They needed to mind their own business and shouldn't have been nosy.
Fuck all the entitled motherfuckers that think it's okay to park their shit on other people's property for any period of time. Not the asshole. That this be a blanket rule for this sub. If someone parks if your spot, they are the asshole.
Not the asshole. The asshole was the person getting into a fight and threatening to sue if his kids got hurt. How is this any of your fault for not letting a complete stranger park in your driveway?
Not the asshole. You didn't escalate the situation, the driver did. They could have easily parked their car a block or two away and then walked over. As for you and your husband supposedly having no sense of community, did your neighbor ask you ahead of time if people could park in your driveway during their yard sale? No. Did they even let you know about the yard sale, so you wouldn't be surprised if your street suddenly got busy that day?
My parents had the same issue quite often with the neighbors despite telling them otherwise and contacting the police. So my parents decided to place something in the driveway that would damage any car that parked there without removing it. An idiot decided to still park in the driveway and damaged his car. When the police arrived, they scoffed at him, telling him, "Why do you need to park in someone else's driveway without their permission?"
So anyways, I was taking my family home from church the other day and noticed this quaint yard sale on the way home. The owner's lawn was all full up, so I decided to block 2 cars in on someone else's property and shuttle my entire family across the street. Then some man came out and asked me to move, because it wasn't my property or something. So I cussed him out and the guy called the police on me. The gall of some people. SMFH. Not the asshole.
I can't even say anything else but not the asshole. Good day, sir. Not the asshole. My biggest points are: 1. He didn't come and ask if he could park there too. He blocked the whole driveway. 3. He didn't move when you asked and threatened to sue you. I understand the concern for his kids, but he did not handle that well at all. But also info, did you or your husband tell him he was blocking you guys in? He's definitely a bigger asshole for the whole thing and paying no mind to the people that live in the house attached to the driveway, but did you remind him of that and then he still refused?
Not the asshole. It's your freaking driveway. That man has some audacity to act like he is entitled to park on your private property. Your husband attempted to ask him to move his car off your property. The man refused, so you took the appropriate next steps. Even if you didn't have anywhere to go, you don't know when an emergency could pop up and you have to leave your driveway immediately. I can't believe the neighbors are upset about this. You were not the one causing commotion, he was.
Not the asshole. It's your property. And he was ugly when you asked him to leave. Also, it's a pandemic. Why are your neighbors being ugly to you that you didn't want strangers in your driveway and yelling at you during a pandemic?
Not the asshole. I don't even have to read anything but the title. It's your property.
I was originally going to say you could have let him park there if he made sure you could still get out, but the problem is if you let one, then other people may do the same. Then you have a bunch of strangers on your property. So not the asshole. If you wanted to be the asshole, then next time put up a sign that says parking $20 a tire.
Have no sense of community. Where was the sense of community when they didn't ask if people could park in your driveway before they had the yard sale?
I probably would have given it 15 to 20 minutes before asking them to move their car, but it's your property, and they're not allowed to park on it without your permission. Not the asshole.
IDK, I think it was rude of them, but it was a bit much to call the police. Then again, I'm British, so I would do nothing and just grumble about it.
Not the asshole. You tell those neighbors the sense of community goes both way. You weren't respected enough to be asked if you're okay with people potentially parking there during the yard sale, so why should you feel obligated to? They chose to not communicate. I also am willing to bet they didn't post in their flyers not to park in any neighbors' spots. They're making you the villain when you weren't even consulted about something on your property. I also don't know the laws there, but I do know someone could sue me if they hurt themselves on my property, which is another reason I don't like people being on it without permission.
This person was lucky the cop didn't write him a ticket for disturbing the peace or something, because the only person making a commotion is this entitled not the asshole.
I am in a large urban area with similar parking conflicts. Can't tell you how many people say, but it's just for 10 minutes while I go use the restroom at my aunt's house. And they disappear for 2 hours. Also, if a string of people all really only parked for 10 minutes, I would still have a perpetually blocked driveway.
Not the asshole. Hey, I live in Boston where parking and diamonds have approximately the same value. Here, he would have returned to find his car damaged, and also moved to the curb.
Not the asshole. You asked politely first, the stranger on your property escalated the situation. Next time someone has a yard sale, they should be conscientious and ask the surrounding neighbors ahead of time if yard sale patrons could please use their driveways with no obligation to agree, so that everyone is on the same page and there is no need to get the police involved at all.
Not the asshole. This is your private property and nobody has the right to park in your driveway without your permission. Your neighbors are the ones who were having the yard sale, not you. The driver escalated this when you asked him to leave your private property and he refused. You aren't obligated to let people use property you own. Next time your neighbors have a yard sale, park your cars so nobody can get in.
This is how entitled brats are created. Kid watches dad throwing a tantrum about stuff that isn't his, then kid goes to school and starts doing the same. I personally would not have parked there in the first place, but if I just happened to do it, and the owners came out to confront me, I would have apologized and asked for permission to park and would have moved if the person insisted. You don't get to argue in that situation. It's irritating and off-putting. I had an older man and his wife try to pull into our hay field, was almost ready to mow, so really tall grass intended to feed our cattle and for sale, to watch a meteor shower. Yes, I have one of the best views of things like that in the entire county. Yes, I happen to live on a farm that takes up the entire top of the hill. No one is allowed to park there. Period. This man argued with me that he had the farm owner's permission. The owner is my dad. He would never tell someone to show up after dark without telling me first. So, I told him to leave or I was calling the police. He dared me. So I did. He left. Absolutely not the asshole, op.
You talk to your neighbors. I'd gaff if they're cold to me or think whatever. Not the asshole.
Is this the Twilight Zone? How TF is anyone justifying random strangers parking on your private driveway? And blocking you in nonetheless? Definitely not the asshole.
Who is having yard sales during COVID? You should have said I need to get out and you need to move, then just pulled your car to the end of the driveway and blocked it.